want to actually know what's going on. Now, there's a question here that posed that can they be used alternatively? Hmm. It's not a direct answer like that, but I can tell you for free. Okay, let's read from what we have here. It said why subqueries are join both relatively data, both retrieve data, from multiple tables. They are not always interchangeable because they serve different purposes.
Hello. Hello. Sorry to cut in. Can you
Hello?
hear me? Sorry, please. You just started
Yes.
the recording. Can you please start again, like a short recap?
Okay. We have not really done much, but excuse me, we have not really done much. Okay. Okay. We have started recording now. What I'm just saying so far is that with our knowledge of SQL, there are a lot of technical skills we are already on it. While we are learning SQL, it's very important. And I mentioned Amazon Redshift. It's a very good data warehouse software. I mentioned Google BigQuery. I mentioned Snowflakes and more like that. So that at the end of the day, at the end of the class, you are not only putting your RDBMS as your skills, but you are also including those data warehouse. You just know how to navigate around it, that's it. But it's the same thing. I'm using SQL query to retrieve data, to manipulate it, and to do other things. So it's very important. You can see that, we are learning multiple things at the same time, multiple skills rather. We are owning them together. So please don't joke with it. And if you see any organization that are recruiting data analysts, please, knowing this, that most of the time is usually your SQL skills that is being tested, because yes, you should be the one to retrieve the large data, to clean it from your RDBMS and put it properly before you visualize it, maybe in your Power BI and even your Excel or tablet. So it's very important to know these differences, and that is why we have taken time to walk you through Excel, Microsoft Excel, to Power BI, Fabrics, and to SQL. So my friend has done justice to the first class last week. So I just here to conclude it, of course. So we have not really gone so far. So that's just what we have. So let me share my screen to continue from where I stopped. All right. So I was okay. We said today we'll be looking at join clause, the inner join, the left join, the right join, the full join. But there's something we'll need to trash out first, which is the join and subquery. I remember that in the data space on the social media, there have been some arguments, people why they prefer subqueries to join, why they prefer join to subqueries, So we're just trying to do a little bit justice on that, And of course, we have a question here that says, can they be used alternatively? You know, we know that the two important clauses are used to retrieve data, from multiple tables, but you cannot use them interchangeably. So, but they serve different purpose for this. So we now want to explain what subquery actually does. The nested, it has this way of nest data set and use it for other purposes. So it says subquery are used to retrieve data that you want to use as a value or condition within a single query. When I was preparing this, I put it as lame as possible so that everyone can clearly understand. So it said we used subquery to retrieve data that you just want as a value or even condition or a column, just one. And they are often used for filtering, calculations, or checking existence. That's queries. But join are used to combine rows from multiple tables. You can see the difference now. Multiple tables now, bringing them together and connect it to every member of that data, of that multiple table in your results. And as a matter of fact, let me just shift things. If you want to do some manipulation to hello everybody. Am I audible? Just show sign. Okay. Sorry, I think probably it's been the network from my end. Something just went off, so I noticed that as well. All right, so let's just continue from uh let's just continue from where we just stopped. So to retrieve combine multiple tables together before doing manipulation, that's what a join is actually meant to do. So, and these are just the brief summary between the two. In the case you can, you say in some cases you can achieve similar results, yes, if you are trying to, do that. But, either of the way, the most important thing, it depends on some important factor, simplicity, and how you can easily interpret your queries. I'm just trying to paraphrase what we have here, so we don't. So, and something that you can easily read is a very important factor when you are trying to, in a case where you have the option of, okay, this can work for subquery, but this can also work for join. So just, we know that they cannot be used interchangeably. That was the point. So just know the difference. Join to connect multiple tables together, and that's just that. For subquery, now, usually the scalar one now is normally used to retrieve just one important aspect of that table, not the entire one. So that's just the difference. So let's talk about join now, what we have to be. We have discussed about the differences between the subquery and join. So the join clause is used, like we have said, to combine multiple rows from two or more tables. And we have different type of join. They actually much more than this, but we are limiting it to the four. We have the inner join, left join, right join, and full join. So type of SQL join. So this is how they will look like. With the inner join, of course, is the subset, like the mathematics class. I think the set class, if you are very familiar with it in the secondary school, you will see that is something that is between the two set of table. So it's just to return what is common between the two. That's why we have something like this here. Left join, or sometimes they call it left outer join. So you can see is frequently used. Is what is frequently used. That it's usually that has the full information here, and the one that matches with the other table. So what is connecting them is now the column I'm going to give an illustration so that it can help us. Right join is just opposite of this. It's the same approach, the same mechanism. The full outer join is everything. So now the inner join, I'm just trying to is we talked about it just now that it's selected both value that matches between the two tables. Get and that is actually that. All right. Before this is the syntax. Let me just show that. This is a syntax. This is the table name. Let's say we have a table name this, and inner join. This is another table, the table 2. Now the column we are joining them together with, the column name from table 1, the column name from table 2. But you need to add their family name, like what I used to say. That's why we can say table 1 dot this. That's a family, just like a surname, because it is possible for the column names to be bearing the same name because they are the same. So sometimes they can be the same in terms of the name given to them. So we need to make the difference from their surname. Somebody can be bearing Ajayi Ushe, for example, and another person is also bearing Nwanko Ushe. It is their family name that makes the difference. I'm just trying to be very as forthcoming as possible. So let me pause here and show you something. So I have it already here. The best way to describe it properly to enable us to understand this. So normally I'm trying to use this illustration, to gain the understanding of how the join works. The join on, you can see this is a table and these are all the columns. Now we have another table. We have a table called transaction table, and we have another table called product profile table. But once you will notice that there's something similar between the two. You can see, that's why you can see the product ID, the product ID. That is the typical concept of the join. So through these two, all of them can be connected to one another. It's just like a data modeling thing. It's not like it's a data modeling thing. And I believe you must have been doing that. You have done that in your SQL, where you are trying to identify your fact table and connect them to your dimensions, something like that, to make some arrays of schema depending on what you are trying to achieve. So that is actually that. So now let's look at what the inner table is actually all about. So I'm still using this. We are using this product ID. You can see the column name, the column header, the column header, column number. This is the table, transaction table. Now we have some figures here. Some IDs like figures. And we also have another one here. So for inner join, now, inner join, it will focus on this value, any value that matches with this, from this table that matches with this table. So 88, let's start with it. 88 is not here. 56 not here. 57 not here. But 59 is here. 60 is here. 61 is there. 62 is there. So all this information, the rows, anyone that has 59 as product ID can be returned. Also with this can be returned. So this is what the inner join is all about. This is inner join. And what we normally use it for is to, let's say we are trying to use to investigate or connect tables or something, or different transaction or different fact table. So sometimes inner join works in that way. It can actually have much more than two fact table at times. We are used to one. Usually this schema, the star schema techniques, kind of, or snowflakes, any one of them. But snowflakes is two schema, two facts. But in case we are having much more than that, so how do we do that? So inner join is mostly used in this context, especially when you will have to connect these two, or maybe there is an information or cases that requires you to find something that you can find between those two fact tables. I don't know if I'm speaking German, but I just want to believe I'm communicating. All right. Now, I'm just trying to summarize everything from here then before moving to our DBMS proper. Now, what about inner join? I'm sorry, left join, left outer join. Left outer join is mostly used to fetch information from the leftmost and the ones that are also similar. Now, what I normally use is that the example I love to use is, let's say, I watch a movie. There's one movie I watched some time ago, 2012. That's the title, 2012. That everything is destroyed. But in that movie, they were showing some people as influence, how they were able to use their influence to make their way to escape. So in the light of this, we can have something like that, like, okay, how left outer join works is like, let's say we have these guys, Americans, and we want to evacuate them. But as a matter of fact, we know that these guys are Nigerians, or maybe another country. Let me just use another country now. So they can say, oh, anyone with the blood that is American blood, we just want them. So it's possible to have mixed American and mixed maybe Nigeria or so. So 59 is a mix because it's appearing here. 60 is also mixed. 61, 62. But 40, 41, they are like me, that I'm not even mixed. They are like some of us. So what left join does is that it will pick everything here, and the ones that are similar, you can see the mix. So what do we use it for? Let's say anytime you have your profile, you are being done a profile. Let's say you look at a bank and say, I love this bank, and you went inside. The first thing they will direct you is to customer service representative to profile you. And the essence of that is they will get all your information. And once you do that, then you can go ahead and do your transaction. So they will not need to be writing your name each time you come to the banking hall. Oh, what's your name? Okay, what is your great grandfather's name? What is your great great grandmother? No, they already have that. They just need an ID, usually your account number. So as they are typing it, all the information will show. The person attending to you will look at your face and say, okay, I think this is the guy. Okay, they might even say, give us your signature. And this as a way to confirm if it matches with what they have. So it is a very beautiful design. So that's why left join is being used more often. Right join, I told you, is like the opposite. Now they are considering Nigerians now. And Nigerian American. So they don't need 88, they don't need 56, they don't need 57. So, but the outer join is everybody, yeah, let's go, whether you're Nigeria or not. So this is the idea of how it works in the RDBMS. So let's continue from there. All right. So now we just explained the left join that captures all the information here and the one that mixes here. And let's look at the syntax. It's the same thing. just type let's join and the column that connect them. The column name that has those similar information, and the column name also in the other table, and you will just write their family name. We'll look at it soon. All right. So the right join is just very similar to what we just described, but this time around it's the other way around. So it's the same syntax. You can see this time around it will now focus on the other one at the left. I mean at the right, sorry. So that it will just pick the one that matches with it and everything here. So the outer join is focusing on everything, all the table. Come on. If you are this, you're welcome. So this is how it will look like. Sometimes we need to indicate the conditions, but we'll look at that as well. Full outer join. You can see everything on that table. At this point, the table will now be very big. The data set, I mean, will be very big. And in some columns, you'll be seeing no, missing value. Yes. But let's look at what is happening before we even move on. Now, by now, this is my Postgres, my RDPMA. I'm using 16. You can use 14. As a matter of fact, you can even use 8. It all works together. It's the same thing. They just add some new features to it. So nothing, no big deal. So I'm be using a database I named Datakliq SQL. So let's expand it. And from the schema here, I know by now we should know we can create a schema. We know what schema does. It's a data warehouse container, kind of, that has all the objects, the table, the views, and the likes. So those ones shouldn't be a problem, okay, I believe. And we can create our schema. This is just to digress a bit. You can see, you can create schema and start using it, especially when you'll be connecting it with an external server. So it's very important we have that. All right, so we'll be using the defaulted public. Let's look at what we have in the table here. And we expand it. You can see we have a customer profile, product information. But let's open our script. So I think I'm too fast. Let me go back. What I did is that I right-click this guy. The public, the schema itself. This is the defaulted one, public. Then go to create script. Create script. You can see all the information that here that enables all this the script here to work. So create script. You can see the maintenance, everything. I think there's a summary of that. So you can see this execution in case this schema exists. It's always there as a default. So if it doesn't exist, it will automatically, if it exists, same way, especially when we are dealing with a large table and you are not sure of the table name you are trying to give. So sometimes you need to put if exists also. So if it exists, it will still go ahead. But it will tell you some other information. So it's just a way to enable you to be sure you don't get you don't have problem. So I like creating something like this. Let's make it 50. Like giving the space. Okay. Now here we have some tables, and I'm going to be as real as possible so that we will not just be guessing. You understand? Now, in an organization, and I believe we must have heard about this in our Power BI class, on why do we call this table fact, and why do we call this one dimension? For example, I know that if, like, let me use the bank I've been using. Since I've opened that account in that bank, I've been doing some transactions, maybe subscribe to my phone, send money and do some basic things. Now, all this activity goes to the transaction. But the first day I entered that banking, or maybe I'm trying to help a friend who is a salesperson in there. And the guy said, beg, open your account. So, they give me a target, they give me this. And I was like, brother, you're not a salesperson now, but maybe they just want to, maybe that's a tradition. But this guy just asked me to just open an account there. So when they directed me to the customer service representative, this product, customer information or profile is what they have. They open the document and they profile me. It's a very comprehensive profiling. And these days now we have data profiling company now, because and there is still a need for that in Nigeria for people who are trying to be very innovative. You can begin to think towards that direction. Banks, loan companies, even several organizations, they are in need of somebody, a third party company that can boast on their profiling skill database that can actually profile an individual. This is a unique opportunity for anybody who is trying to spring up from data now, to other field, innovative field that is needed. And data collection, I know, is not easy, yes, but it's very important to avoid fraud and some other things. So, but I think I'm digressing a lot. So now we are trying to connect tables together, but let's look at what table do we have. Let's see what is in those table. So when you shouldn't be straight, this shouldn't be like in magic, The transaction, where is the transaction table? Okay, here we are. Transaction table. So what do we have? So this is what we have. And you can see, let me just show you. The transactions are the activity recorded. Assuming we are not thinking of joining. So that it means that each time, maybe I visit the bank, for example, you first of all write all my names, my qualification, my age, my parent number, get time for all this. So they just need one information, ID. That ID, this customer ID, will connect to all the basic information they have. There is a way they will link it together. That is what we are doing now. And in case we are trying to investigate, we just need the ID to make documentation, transaction recordings very easy. And of course, product ID, this is a simple organization data pipeline thing. Organization, they have transactions. So I will just put in a little bit in there. The product, the customer that came, because before a customer buys directly from a manufacturing company, you will have to register register them. So it's as good as what the bank does. Then the product they are buying, they also have details too. Humans, we have details, information. The product they are buying, they have the same thing. So it's the same practice also done in hospital. Before you can even see the doctor, they will profile you. They will ask you to buy a card or thereabout. They will do some normal basic tests. Is a word they normally use, and from there They know your age. They know, if possible, they will want to know if you are HIV patient or blood group. Basic things like that. So based on the information they've done, they will be using it anytime you visit the hospital, then you'll see the doctor. So it's the same thing. Now, the drugs they are going to prescribe for you at the pharmacy too has his own description too. Supplier, expiring date, all this stuff like that. That is, I'm talking of people now that's looking towards that health line, because I will not lie to you. Health people, they are the one that uses data much. They needed more of data analytics. They are dealing with machine learning, AI a lot, because of the large information they got, large data set again. So product ID will be there to give us information about the products that they are buying. What quantity are we giving them? Then the percentage discounts if it is available. That is actually the transaction table. It has the fact book, and it has these unique characteristics. It's always shorter. They don't have a long column information, especially when it is a fast-paced environment. They will tell you at least in the next 40 seconds, you should be through with this transaction. I mean, we should be able to document a transaction. So that is a fast-paced environment, and that means you should have get everything on board. Now, this is set to select transaction table. Now, we don't have the customer name here, but we have the ID here. So let's look at it again. Let's look at the ID that is talking about the customer profile now. Customer profile. I've already imported all this, so I'm just doing this so that we can have a better understanding of what. So this is the customer profile. You can see the ID that we are going to use to connect them together. Customer name here, the registration date, the location. It's obviously much more than this, but we just limit it to these few ones. So there is a saying that the more profile you do, the more secure your database will be. The more you are profiling them, getting information, and it is very easy. Like, you are getting this information, then we can vouch of, oh, this is going to be very secure, the database here. So now let's say we now want to connect this transaction table. Let's say there is a task that we want to actually know who is our customer. We just want to return the customer name alone on these transactions we are looking at. So this is where you can use your join. So you can go ahead and say left join. Remember, this is a fact table, the main table, and we want to retrieve some of the info the customer that have done transaction. Now, this is the difference. Not every customer in this customer profile you expected to see here. Some will just be like, okay, let me just open it for my guy and go away, and they will not do anything. I have to say this, I'm part of them. There are some banks that I just open and I didn't even put, maybe I'll just put 1,000 there. That's all. I didn't do any transaction. So I'm not expected to, they are not expecting me to retrieve it. If they are doing, maybe they want to check on this, all the customers. So that is why left join is very important. It's going to figure out the ones that are here. This is the fact table, this is the main guy. The other ones are just information concerning what we have here. not concerning them now. So we'll type let's join, and the table name, customer profile name. So that's the customer profile. We're not done yet. Remember the syntax on. We will now type on. What does that mean? Is to trigger which column is connecting these two tables together. And as a matter of fact, that is the customer ID. Customer ID is in the customer profile. It's also in the transaction table. So you go ahead and type on. Let's first of all type customer ID. Customer is also bearing customer ID on the table, but you need to now add their surname because we don't know. You can execute this. You need to add their surname. So, and I call it surname most of the time because it's relatable, But let's give it an alias. But here they will call it alias. So we can give this alias transaction table as T. Any alias works, trust me. You can give it W or EFCC, anyone. And let's give this guy alias based on the initial C. So that this guy, we can say, okay, this is the Ushe from this family. So we need to type, we can type it for transaction table dot customer ID. That is, it's coming from that family. But we can use the alias to make it simpler. Then this one also coming from this other family. It's a big wedding, We want to bring them together. What God has joined together. So, and we have something like this. Well, let's run it together and see. Of course, it's going to be a very big family. Let's see. Wow. So if you look at it, remember this is where this guy stopped. The transaction table stopped. So you can see it has been connected to the customer profile table. So that is what left join can do. It will bring everything together. So from there, we can say, okay, since it is customer we are looking for here, we can say, okay, all right, this one works. Then just say, okay, T dot, at least we know what star means. Remember, we don't forget their surname. Star means all, but this time around is once we put T dot, all the family of transaction table, that is T. Because now that we are having more than one table, so you need to be putting this. It's very important and it's very safe. Then we now go ahead and say, okay, is the customer name we're actually looking for. Let's be sure how the name is written, customer underscore name. So we just say, okay, C dot customer underscore name, because the customer underscore name is coming from this family. Somehow the BMS, I think even including Postgres, once they notice just you don't include the family name and it's just a unique this thing, sometimes they can skip it. It's very cool. So let's run it. And don't forget, because you'll be wondering, I didn't highlight it and execute. It's because it's just one single query. That's why it's still very easy that way. So you can see the customer name alone has appeared. Then we can now begin to maybe do our normal manipulations and so on and so forth. We can say, okay, who is our top customer based on quantity supplied, and so on and so forth. Let's do the same thing also for a product. But this time around, I'll show you the differences now. I'll try to show you the difference. Or let me just try to, let's write a query so that we can know that. Let's just write a query. Now, let's say we are trying to find the top 10 customer based on quantity supply. I know we are trying to digress a bit, but I believe you are familiar with this. Now, we can see that this is now a table. This queries is a table. So let's say we want to find, let me give a comment here, top 10 customer by quantity supplied. Just trying to be as forthcoming as possible. So I love giving space, and I love to indent my query. And the reason is for when you are trying to debug, if you have cultivated that culture of, indent, it's very easy for you to sort out mistakes once they appear, especially when the data set are now large. So now you can use subquery. I know one way or the other I must have talked about it, but of course, though our focus today is actually join statement strictly. So we can use from, just the way we reference table here. Remember I said these guys are also can be used as a table. So subquery, we nested them as that. Nested them, we put them like that to make sure that, okay, this is what we can do. So let's just give it in a bracket. And let's something like this. From table, we can even say select all, except it's not, but let's just say it will still give us everything. But you can see based on what we have here, it's now treating it as a table. Now, to determine the top 10 customer, of course, just, I think we have discussed group by in the previous classes. I want to really believe that. So just because this is now a new table, we have to give this one a new alias. We can call it A. So that the new surname, they're already family now. So their family is trying to marry another family. They're in together. So just be like A dot customer, and just use some and quantity supplied. So you have to indicate a quantity supplied. Let's call it as quantity. Let me just call it. Let's call it quantity. Now this is an alias. It's just so that it will appear as this. Or total. Let's just call it total quantity. So you can now say, oh, because we are now referencing this and we are using an aggregate function, the group by, then we have to use group by. So say, okay, group by, that is, we are grouping with respect to this guy. And let's see what we are going to have. So you can see, this is what it will now look like. And, you can also, okay, let's make it look like top 10, of course. I'm just trying to explain the applicability of what the join and the subquery that we discussed earlier on can be. So order by, you can just say order by what? You're trying to order it by this guy. You can pick any one of this. It's all fine. The alias to is it works. So the sending is not case sensitive. You can see that is descending from the top to the bottom. You know? So it's top 10 they want now. So just say limit. Okay. Limit is what they use. You know, select top is what we used in the SQL server. It all works. So these are our top 10 customers. Trust me. You see, they have done business with us. So most of the time, this can be part of your report as a data analyst, especially when you are dealing with something like this, a company, organization that works like this. So this is a very good example of how left join works. And I'm trying to make it as simple as I can. All right. Then what about the all right, okay. Now there's something I want to show us. It's very important. Now, why all this is very important? Very, very important. Now, in some cases, I've seen people removing the left. I just use join. Now, normally it will just figure out, okay, what is on the left by default. But sometimes you need to specify. Let's run this and see. 9669, but let's see. Now, in some cases now, the left join can assume if that is if all the products in that what's the name, all the customer in that table, that means all the customer in that profile, they done transaction at one point or the other. But there will be some cases whereby some of them will just make some profile. They will just, I've opened an account and they will not do any transaction. Or maybe they want to pick a particular date. Let's say between just last week. And it's not possible that all our customer did some analysis do transaction. Now, this is where the difference comes in. Because we are looking holistically, okay, everyone is doing it. But the most important thing is when it's now come to a shorter period, let's say for last month, the month of March, not all our customer and database will do it. As a matter of fact, people are even doing churn analysis to know which customer is not buying. This is where you will not have to use join. That's why it is always safe to put your left join. I wish we have much time. Trust me, it's very important at this point. So it's very important to take good notes of this. Now, what about inner join? If we change this to inner join, are we going to get the same thing? Well, let's see. Okay, before I include inner join, let me just bring this guy out first. Something I need to show you guys. So I just need to bring everybody. So I'm just trying to bring everybody back. Now, you will see, let's say we have marked this as, okay, Dode, Adamawa, Delta, Kaduna, EAD. I will now put in inner, for example. Okay, inner join is still bringing everything we have in both. That is, but maybe it's because of how this data here is arranged. But I want to show you something from the Excel now Do not forget, this is what inner join will bring. It will bring information that is common between the two. Information that is common between the two. Now, again, let's use something. Let's do something. Let's use let's filter it further. A condition whereby we have less than 4. So where the percentage discount, that is T dot count is less than 4. Let's first of all look at everything. No, sorry, this is John. This is inner. Okay. Of course, this is the criteria. Of course, you can see everything we are seeing here is 1, 2, 3, nothing like 4. But let's see if the inner join will change. We have Edo, EEKN. I'm just trying to show you the difference so that we don't mix. Don't mix it. Yeah, inner join. We don't mix it up. Now, do you now see the difference? Adamawa, Lagos, Ondo. It's another data entirely. And that is why you don't use join, only join. You must have done several interviews, particularly as a data analyst, this, and just use join. But when you are now trying to filter, you know that it's not every one of them that will appear. That is where you will be able to make a differentiate it. That, oh, left, join. They will know that, okay, you are very specific. I've seen people, colleagues, who are, oh, let me share just join. I don't care. I'll get what I want. The good thing is it will still show results. You will not know. And I've seen somebody that, yeah, like a big sister, she's actually working in Canada as a database, this thing, when people are well. Snowflakes is what they use. And there was a time she shared one of their queries to me. I was like, he said, none of them even understand. They shall know that they are giving them results from their database and they are setting it. He said it was until one time that I begin to realize that, hey, there have been mistakes in this thing. And they don't know else. I'm telling you for real. It's like my big cousin. I was like, let's do the right thing. Last year, I just show her 1 or 2 things that I think this is what it was. He said, we put that in, but they just
Hello,
saw
Mr.
it.
Sina. Hello, Mr.
Please.
Sina. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Sorry to cut you short. Are you doing anything on the screen at the moment? Are you typing or are you doing anything on the screen?
no, I'm not typing. I'm just explaining.
Okay. So it's not. I don't think it's typing. So a lot of people are complaining that your screen is lagging. Probably you might want to just
No, I'm not typing. I'm not typing. I don't
type in.
know.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. Yeah, but you might just want to
Oh,
maybe stop sharing screen and share again, just to justify that.
okay. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Oh my God. And people are not okay. I can't see. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. But let me reshare now. I think I've dropped my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah,
Let
it's
me check.
visible now. I can see your screen.
Oh, okay.
Also,
Apologies.
Mr. Shino, sorry, Mr.
Okay.
Shino, they call my attention to something as well. So they said the class seems to be, I think for for people that are beginners, they feel like it's too maybe the class
It's
is too you understand, beginners in
hey,
SQL,
God have
it looks
mercy.
somehow.
Ah,
So
yeah.
actually, I think the issue is that I understand them. The issue is that because when I was taking them last week, I only cover the structure, the database structure and table structure. I didn't cover some of the query function like group by, limit, order by. So when they are saying all these things now, it's looking somehow, when you are using group by, you are using order by, they don't even understand, some of those concepts as well. So I think it looks somehow for them to understand join that you are taking them now. I don't know how. I know that the time is already. You have already gone so far. Actually, I was not on the call. I left the call earlier, so I should have called your attention to that. I don't know how you want to manage the remaining time that you have, maybe between now and tomorrow. Probably you go a step back to maybe the query function instead. Then probably you can, if there's time, you can do a recap on join for them again tomorrow. But I don't think you should, don't I don't know what topic you want to take them to, but I know that that will be another advanced topic. So maybe you should just take a step
Well,
take a step back for them.
okay. I guys, I owe you guys apology. We really owe you guys apology. I'm really Mr. Foloshaw. I really appreciate that feedback. That's important feedback. I'll just be firing and firing the go. I'll be thinking I'm doing it gently. Apologies once again, guys. You me personally, I love an interactive class. Once things is not clear, I will immediately point it. But I think there were no privilege to speak than to react. Apologies also on that. It's just for coordination. All right. We'll try to salvage some things here. Just I was already assuming that by now you guys know the group by what it does, the other by the limits. Oh, apologies. Oh, hey, God. All right. Um. All right. No. Okay. Let me just explain what it does. Group by is an aggregate function. It's an aggregate function. I think I have data on that. So let's just pause here. I have I'm trying. Let me see if I can fetch it out. No. Um, no. Okay. Let me just quickly run us through some of these things we have been seeing, and at least it will help us. The truth is, the time is always short, yes, but we'll try our best. Apologies, in my opinion. All right, let's talk about group by, order by, select, distinct, and the like operator. So now, when they said SQL, we know is a standard language for storing, manipulating, retrieving data from databases. It's just like you have what's the name, food in your store, food, all sort of food, and anytime you are the specialist on how to go into this thing and retrieve it. Oh, I need 2 Congos of rice in that store. Go and fetch it. I know where the rice is, and I know what I'm going to use to marry it. That's what SQL does. So after using, and maybe in the kitchen now, they are saying, oh, we can also, the people were even thinking they will be coming for a visit. They are no more coming. Maybe they will soon be they will soon show up, or something like that. Please go and return the bag at the half of this. I know how to add this back to the database. I will not pour it where there's yam or something. So that is actually what SQL is all about. So, and of course, this is what is to tell us that we have several DBMS. Of course, we are focusing on Postgres and I think SQL Server from our previous class. But let's go. Group by statements. Now, when they say group by, what is it all about? It's an aggregate function. What is even aggregate function? Summation, anything you can summarize. Average is just like you have a set of data. The best way to summarize them all together. It can be mode, it can be median, it can be maximum, it can be minimum, it can be range. All these are aggregate functions. So it will give us a representative like mean. Mean is the most common one. Okay, we have this data taken at different time. Okay, let's summarize it. Let's make one. Let's make a data out of it. And that's what we have. Then the syntax and positioning, we'll be looking at that, how it works, the hands-on practice and application. So maybe if we even do this, our time is up already, but I will just, if this is what we get, I think we are good. Now, here we are about the group by statement. It says it is used to arrange identical data into groups with help of some functions, like I have mentioned. And if a particular column has some values in different rows, then it will arrange these rows in group. I don't think it makes sense right now. Even if I'm reading, it might not at least spring something. But by the time we do some hands-on, it will make much sense. Let's go. So I've talked about the aggregate functions here, like count, minimum, maximum, average, range, and so on and so forth. So this is what that can enable us to summarize. This is what the group by is actually all about. Now, we are having some things together where some clauses that can work together with group by. So the positioning, because the syntax and the positioning also matters. So you have to, anything after the from, then we use the group by before we start using, or before we start using some condition or thereabout. So you can see the group by clause is placed after where, after making your condition, then you can use your group by. We look at that. The other is now what follows the group by, and if we now have any having clause. So that's where we have. But to me, it still look like, what is all this now? But don't worry. Now, this is the general syntax for group by. Select the table name or the column we want to do, and the function name, the aggregate. So the condition, if there is a condition, we can put it. If not, we can skip that. Then the group by. Then order by should come next, usually at the bottom. So let's pause here and go back to our this. All right, so let's do something. Okay, let's use product, for example. The product table. Select star product information. Sorry. Now we want to just use this to explain what the group is actually all about. Now let's look at what we have here in the table. The product ID, the product name, the product category, the stock quantity left, the unit price, the production price, the store location, code. You can see their data, their data type are being indicated below. Variable character, you can see any character fits in, it changes. So whether it is signed, that's why you can see backslash here. That is the characteristics of having a different character within a data. Now, like the same thing also, it is also adopted by the text because we have several languages. You can see some, even from our phone, we'll see A. Some will not even look like A, that will have 0 at the top, different names. So that's why we always use them in character. Same thing also here. But numeric, number strictly. Numeric. And the reason why we use variable character here is because it's actually a code. It looks like number, yes, but it's code. It's the same thing also goes to your phone number, your mobile number. It is number, yes, but it's variable character because you cannot add somebody's phone number with another person's phone number. It's not done. So I'm just trying to explain that. Now, let's say we want to categorize. Of course, the product is already categorized into classes, but we want to know, let's say we have a task. That's very simple task. To determine, because that is the problem solving is what enable us to learn very fast when it comes to things we are not so used to, So to determine the sum of the total stock quantity left per product category. So let's say we want to actually determine it, summarize. Let's say we are preparing our report as a data analyst and we want to know what is left. We under this guy because our concern is actually this guy and this guy. Product category, you can see, and stock quantity left. So we want to determine their total. That is our headache now. So to do that, we just say, okay, let's copy this guy. Now, this will show everything, but we are only focusing on these two. So we can just say, okay, product category, and this is a number, stock quantity. So just type stock quantity left. Now, we can run it like this because we have not put any aggregate function. But the moment we now say sum, and we run it, what do we expect to get? Error. It will advise us to use a group by function. You can see from here. Appear in the group by clause or to be used an aggregate function. No. The error here is even teaching us what to do. So what we are expected to do is to continue our typing and type group by. And how I used to interpret this group by, I will just say we are grouping it with respect to this guy. That is even enough. Simple as that, you can see. But the only thing is that they are not well arranged. That's the group by. Everything is fine. The arrangement here to know which one come first. You can see this 15,000, this 31,000. It's not arranged. It's not good. So order by does that. So just type order by. Just want to arrange this guy. Okay, let's even give it an alias. As SQL. Let me just call it SQL. Stop quantity left. Let me run it so that it can appear SQL. So we'll not say order by this guy. We can even pick the alias. Now, if we run it, if we don't put anything here, it will arrange it ascending order. So the smallest one will be at the top here, and the biggest one will be at the bottom. You see, that is the defaulted one. Then, if we now say in descending order, the biggest one will be at the top, and the smallest one will be at the bottom. You can also type ascending as ASC. Doesn't matter, but it's fine this way. So this is how group by works. Let's do one more. Let's do something more. Let's still use this. No, this is just category. Our time is fast spent. Now, let's say we want to know the average unit price of each product. Average unit price. Okay, they are unique products anyway, so we might not need this thing. So let's say we want to have an idea of fluoxamine. I want to share. Okay, let's say we want to okay, maybe based on this product, I want to have an idea of the average unit price. So I think this will be what we are going to do then. We'll be meeting next week, tomorrow. Average, excuse me, unit price, product category. So let's say we have something like this. It's a task. One analyst will want to know the average unit price per product category. So we'll go ahead and say, okay, select star from this first, this guy, product information. Sometimes it will just be a simple word you can easily type, but you still want to, So our concern is the unit price, this, and the product category, this. So we want to find the average. So we are not showing everything. So we edit this and say, okay, product category, comma, then unit price. This is the two parameter we want to look at. And here they are. So since it is the average, unit price is what they are looking for. Then we'll now use the average, AVG. And let's even give it an alias so that it will appear at our new column. Average unit price. Can be anything. So We'll now type, we'll have to type the group by now with respect to this guy. It's what that will now determine how we want to do it. So we are grouping it by with this. So let's run it and see. So you see the average. It divides everything to give us something like this. Then we can now say, okay, order by let's use our descending order now. Now this is the biggest, but it looks rough. It looks kind of look at the decimal. So let's make it very consistent. So there's a formula. This is just a jar so that our work can look neat. So there's a formula called round. So we just type round in front of the value here. We want to round it to 2, like the 2 decimal place. So let's see what we have. At least to make it look better. So into 2 decimal place. If you like, change it to 4 decimal place. 4 numbers will come here after the decimal. So I just want to I believe I'm trying to make sense. You know? I hope this part is clear. Let me stop sharing so that I can. I want to know, do we have any questions so far? If you have any question, maybe you can put your hands in the air where we can see them. Okay, 2 people are already wasting up their hands. Okay, I don't know if we can grant Arafat Ibrahim, yes, to ask his question, and Ude Jessica as well. Let's hear from them. Yes. Our time is gone already, so just take these 2 questions and we'll call it a day. So,
Okay.
All right. Go on, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time this morning. This class actually maybe it's because I'm still new to SQL that is somehow it looks somehow technical to me. So, sir, how can we learn more about this SQL so that as to understand these basics well? And then second thing is that for when is the time that I can just prefer to use SQL than Excel? That would be best option for me to use SQL to do analysis. Thank you, sir.
All right. That's a very good question. All right. Let me start with the last one. That's how I understand how you want to actually learn more on SQL, and you actually want to how can you get it right? Some of these things, apart from our class, you should know by now that tech classes, how should I put it now? Tech classes, tech career is always an ongoing. There are new things you learn, you incorporate it with what you have already gained. And so it's the same thing. If you are learning SQL, Just if it is just select star from table, you get, oh, maybe for that week, it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. From there, you can move on. I can recommend some sites that can also help you further your to cement what you have been learning so far. This one, W3 schools, I think it will be shared. W3 schools and more. I like that W3 school. It's so easy. And don't just stop there. Watch YouTube videos. Now, YouTube videos, don't just watch one video. If you watch one video, you might not still get it. But as you are watching the second one, you will see there's something similar between this video. Maybe the first tutor is not explaining something clearer, but you cannot ask him question at that point now. Maybe it's a 6 years ago video. But you see another one explaining it. Oh, this is why this guy was saying this. The third one, before you are done with the fifth one, something will drop. I'm very certain of it. Then go back to your W3 school, try it again. Oh, okay. It's a practice. And see it as a fun thing. Your second question on Excel and SQL. Now, Excel is a spreadsheet and is a very cool multifunctional spreadsheet. Let me use that. The data analyst can use it. And we can use it to perform ad hoc analysis and some other stuff. But for the purpose of data analysis, Excel can be used, but it's limited. For example, the data grid there, let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me share my screen. Our time is gone already, so just so let me share my screen. I believe we are seeing as my screen now. This is Excel. If I Control Shift down, it will show me the last point of where it ends, and that is 1,048,576. And the truth is, there are some data set that are 25 million, 10 million, like that. So you can see where you can't always use Excel. So this is where SQL comes into play. SQL can accommodate large data, but just that anytime you want to view it, anytime you want to view your SQL, don't forget, always put limit or select top 100. Because if you are opening a database, you don't know the number, and if the number is around like 40 million, it can run your system down. So that is the best practice. Select top 100. At least you will see it. So that is just that. So SQL is very important, and that's why in your interview you'll be tested by SQL, then Excel or Power BI, like that. So I don't know if I have answered your question, Mr. Ibrahim. I don't know.
Yes, sir. You've answered it, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. So the last person, Miss Ude Jessica, please. You have raising your hands up, please. You have the floor.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the class.
Good
Can you
morning.
hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, very audible.
Good morning. Okay. So my first question is not related to the class, to today's class
Okay.
actually, but I missed the last class and I didn't